I really need your help. I'm in a bit of a jam. I'm in a predicament. I got zombies breaking down the door. Doesn't look good.
Dang, boy, they haven't managed to get to Tahiti yet. You should have come when you had the chance.
Tahiti? You're in Tahiti? 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 Gotta get to Dr. Bones.
Hi folks, Canadian Prepper here. Just like we demonstrated in the introduction, we are going to be showing you guys some biometric safes today. Now unfortunately, here in Canada, our rights for firearms are rather restricted, to say the least, and even more so in the not so distant future. You can still legally own handguns, however, the window in order to get them is quickly closing as new legislation has been passed, but you will be able to keep yours until you croak. Unfortunately, based on the law that's being put through, you're not going to actually be able to pass those on to your kids. For the time being though, you want a way to store those firearms in a way which is secure, safe, and all the rest. So this may be an option. Now, of course, half of my viewers live in the United States, so you guys will have no problems with this kind of stuff. So I'm gonna show you the different safes that we have here today, and they're actually fairly innovative. Now, the company sent us these safes, full disclosure. We're gonna provide you an honest review Obviously, as a person who doesn't own handguns, I can't really attest to their use case in that regard. However, I would say that they do serve a variety of other functions. Now, one thing that these aren't, they're not a impenetrable fortress. Any safe can be broken into. They are made with a very durable 14 gauge steel, and they are designed in order to be somewhat pry resistant and drop proof. This is more just for safe storage. You don't want your kids getting a hold of things. It's meant to basically be a tamper-proof safe storage system that you can access in a pinch. Now, somebody in Canada might use this for ammunition, because in Canada, of course, we have to store our firearm separately with our ammunition. So having fast access to those things in a pinch, if say a bear decides to come into your house in the middle of the night, you know, you need to have quick access to the gun and the ammo. But if I can just go like this, that saves me a lot of time. Okay, so this is why the Maxsafes are pretty cool. So how this works is it's not actually a fingerprint technology. It's using what they call vein recognition technology. Vein recognition technology uses the near-infrared scanner to capture the vascular pattern images beneath your skin and compares the scanning results with the records stored in the system. Now, the cool thing about these is that you can store up to 50 different vascular patterns. So that means that you can have this program for many different family members. You can program it for all of your different fingers and still have many to spare. There's 3 ways to open the safes. You can either use your fingerprint just like so. You can also use a passcode, which we just have as 1, 2, 3, 4 right now, or you can even use the key, just like that. So I know some of you guys are a little paranoid. You don't have to worry. This has no way of uploading your vein or your fingerprint or anything like that up to the grid. Okay, so this is a closed circuit system. There's no Wi-Fi, no Bluetooth connection, nothing like that. And it does have a little gas spring in there, so it's very soft opening. Normally, if you don't program them to be silent, they can be a little bit loud. I immediately thought that this was going to be a big drawback because I didn't realize that there was a silent function. The only sound it makes is that motor when it opens. So that's the only potential drawback to something like this. If you're trying to be stealthy about it in the middle of the night, you don't want to draw unnecessary attention. Obviously, if somebody's breaking into your home, then you know that's engagement you're probably likely going to have either way, but that's just something to keep in mind. According to the manufacturer and based on the tests that I've seen, the vein recognition is very good, and it also can be used even when your finger is wet, if there's moisture on it, if there's dirt. So this is something which is different than the fingerprint technology, which typically requires, you know, a perfectly clean finger. So I'm going to dip my finger in some water, simulate sweat, and go like this. Still opens. That's pretty good. So this is going to simulate like dirtier water. Good old Tim Hortons. Still works. We take our gold backs and we go shopping. The other thing I like about it is you don't have to think about where you're putting your finger. You just simply take your finger, push it right to the back, and then it opens. The great thing about the fact that you can program 50 different veins in there is that you can do the same finger from a variety of different angles just to make sure that, you know, it's not going to open. They say there's a very low false positive rate, like 0.0001%, meaning that if somebody else had a similar vein structure to mine, the likelihood of them being able to open it is very, very small. The batteries in here are going to last 6 to 8 months. That, of course, depends on how much you're opening it and closing it. There is a lifetime warranty with this. So, you know, we did have a problem with one of the safes, and that was this one. So it was working perfectly fine until I opened it in the rear with the key, and then for some reason, the latch motor would not engage when we use our fingerprint or when we use the code. So something happened to that mechanism, but because Maxsafe does guarantee these things for a lifetime, I'm quite certain that they'll be able to, you know, replace it at no extra cost to us. That's the only one we've seen that happen on. I've never seen it happen anywhere. It could just be some weird malfunction that we haven't figured out yet. So as you can see, there's 4 different variations here. This one is for under a desk, very inconspicuous. This one is for on top of a desk, and all of these are gonna have different mounting holes, and you definitely are gonna want to mount something like this unless you're using it just as a way to transport your firearm to the range. This is DOJ certified in California. I'm going to presume that if it's DOJ certified in California, because their laws are very similar to what we have here in Canada, that this will be acceptable for transport to and from the gun range or wherever else you are approved to use your restricted firearms, aka handguns, here in Canada. This one is for the side of a desk, so it mounts up on the side, and the only way this one works is if there's nothing obstructing the bottom here. So I'll just input the code just like that, and then of course you would grab your handgun. And then this one is just another tabletop one, and there is ways for you to bolt this one into something as well. Again, these are not meant to be impenetrable safes necessarily. It's just a way to ensure that this doesn't fall into the wrong hands in a moment's notice and keeps you legal, basically, is what it does. They do say that they are tamper-proof and they are pry-proof, and that's somewhat owed to the way it's designed here. So like with this one, for instance, it's very hard to kind of get a pry tool under there, but it's not impossible, as you can see, because I just kind of did it. I'll show you how to program these. It's incredibly easy. However, it can be a little challenging. Finding a little button in here is kind of like finding the G spot. Maybe you guys are better at that than I am. But so all you have to do is there's a little button. See, I can't even find it. So you just press it like that. And then all you have to do is put your finger in there, it recognizes it, put it in again, and do it a 3rd time. And then you're good to go. Now, I think what the company should consider is if you don't put the right finger in here, there should be a little mini guillotine that comes down and just chops the finger off of the person. I don't know if that would be DOJ certified or not. This one here, my only gripe with it is the thing kind of like flies open. So this is why you want to, when you program it, you want to make sure you're programming it from the right angles, because you can see here, I'm trying to get it in around the side and it's not working. So, but if I go head on, it opens. So it worked that time, but it's one thing you'll want to consider is, you know, let's say you get shot or something, or you get injured and you have to access this from some weird angle. You know, if you have 50 inputs, so you can input 50 different vein patterns, you might as well try to get it from as many different angles as possible. I guess the only problem with doing that, though, is that the more angles and the more variations you input, the greater the likelihood for a false positive to occur. But they say that the likelihood of that happening is incredibly low. Not impossible, but I'm presuming the more codes you input, the greater the likelihood of it happening. This is 14 gauge steel. It's pretty durable. It has a very rugged coating to it. Looks like kind of a Linex style coating that you would see on vehicles. So one thing I was impressed by was the price point on these things. Now, I would expect something with this kind of biometric technology and with the durability that these possess, that I would be looking at around 500 bucks. But most of them are under 200 bucks on the website, and they occasionally have sales going on. I think if you use the link in the description and you input the coupon code that we're going to list there, you're going to get an additional 10% off. The ship might have sailed on me getting handguns here in Canada, But if you do, I think this is a great way to store them. Like I say, you have those 3 ways of opening it. And even the code system is very simple because it's only 4, you know, you could do it really quick, right? So using the code, it's almost as quick as actually using the fingerprint, and maybe even a bit more reliable in a pinch. But that's pretty quick. If I'm thinking about Justin Trudeau, I use my middle finger, won't work. There we go. Not bad. Yeah, it's kind of like my remote shutters. You know, it makes me feel more important than I am. You know, it's like James Bond style stuff. And, you know, that's pretty cool if one of your buddies comes over and you just, you know, do that kind of thing and pull out your piece, right? This under the desk one and this side piece one, they come with mounting hardware. And these other ones you can screw in from the inside into the desk. So the only way, you know, they'd have to really work hard to pry that off. They have a nice hard foam interior, and you can customize that to conform to the shape of your firearm or whatever you decide to store in here. If you guys want one of these, go check out the link in the description below. Do you think that this has other potential uses in a preparedness situation? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. Canadian Prepper out.
The best way to support this channel is to support yourself by gearing up at CanadianPreparedness.com, where you'll find high-quality survival gear at the best prices, no junk, and no gimmicks. Use discount code PREPPINGGEAR for 10% off. Don't forget, the strong survive, but the prepared thrive. Stay safe.